Hey all, your OS reviews. Today we're taking a closer look at the Elevoc Clear. These are a pair of TWS wireless buds with active noise cancellation, but not only for music, but also for calling. In fact, they claim that the voice call quality on these are going to be some of the best on the market, using a form of AI built on in, and they are calling this Vocplus. In addition to the traditional form of ANC, which is for yourself as you're listening to music, these have 10mm dynamic drivers, which are also fairly large for TWS buds. They also have a 30-hour battery case, which is also going to be slightly longer than average, up to 6 hours for the buds when removed from the case. And they also do have a companion application, which you can use to connect to and change some of the levels of active noise cancellation, and it's available for both iOS and Android. So in here we have just a quick start guide. And down below here, we have just the buds themselves, USB Type-C charging cable, along with 12 different silicone tips. A closer look at the battery case. It is a pretty simple but also elegant design that is a little bit reminiscent of the AirPod Pros in terms of their shape. And overall, it is coated in a layer of soft touch rubber, which makes it pretty grippy and also resistant to fingerprints. And otherwise, there's just a Type-C port on the bottom here for charging, and a key that you can tap on to take a look at the power percentage remaining. You can also long hold on this key for 4 seconds to reset the buds and connect them to new devices. And otherwise, a very simple design. We have some branding on the back, and that's pretty much it. The door here is magnetic, and we can simply pop them open like so. The buds will automatically wake up. In terms of official audio codecs supported with Bluetooth 5.0, they have the standard SBC and AAC, although Qualcomm's aptX is curiously missing from these, even though they do have partnerships with Qualcomm. So that is one thing that maybe they can add in the future. Buds are magnetic, and they can again be popped out pretty easily, pop back in for quickly charging up. And again, they are very reminiscent, at least on the shape on the back, of the AirPods, but the front does have more of a metallic accent with kind of curved edges. You can see there is a blinking infrared light, so these do have a auto play and pause sensor, just like the AirPods. They can know if you're wearing them or not, and when you pop them out, they will automatically pause the music as well. Otherwise, they are fairly lightweight and comfortable. The entire body is coated in a soft touch rubber material, just like the casing. In fact, it's almost like an AirPod Pros if it was a black color and coated with rubber. One feature that is missing from the controls right now is the ability to change the volume higher or lower directly on them. Again, that's something I usually like to see present, so maybe they can add that in a future software update. So here's a quick size comparison with regular Apple AirPods in terms of their casing. It's going to be a little bit larger, but not by too much so. And for size of buds, here they are next to the regular AirPods. They have a longer stem, but again, like the AirPod Pros, they are going to be a bit closer there in overall dimensions. Weight is also par on par, so these are not heavy at all. It still felt snug enough that if you are doing a little bit of jogging or running, they're not going to fall out easily either. Taking a closer look at the companion app, now this is probably still in development at the moment, so hopefully they'll push more software updates over in the future, but right now it is extremely simple. And when you are connected, you're able to take a look at controlling settings like the intensity of the ENC that you want, and this is for making phone calls. So right now we have it at the maximum setting, so this is the noise that's coming in. If it's very loud, what the other person will hear is basically just your voice. Everything in the background will get silenced, or if I want to let in a little bit more sound from the environment, I can also tweak this dial to the left and tell all the way over here. This means there's going to be no cancellation at all. Everything will just be passed through. So you can change the intensity there, and that works relatively nicely. You can also turn this on or off, save the level, and it will push it to the buds. And that is pretty much it as far as what the app can do right now. So there is no controls in terms of being able to, let's say, change the way that the taps can correspond to different things. You can't remap the touch controls. There are no kind of EQ settings. Now moving into audio quality and performance, let's talk about the sound first. Overall, I would say they have a clean sound with plenty of bass. That's really thanks to that 10mm driver. So in the low frequency, it definitely packs a punch. If you're listening to a drum beat or EDM music, it really hits quite hard and it's quite satisfying. Overall, mids and trebles sound good. I would say it's clean, although if you're being super nitpicky as an audiophile, trebles can be a tad muddier compared to really more flagship grade buds that tend to pack in slightly more details in the higher end frequency of vocals. But as a whole, certainly not bad. As you're listening to pop music and most genres, it still sounds good enough and energetic when it comes to working out with them. Again, great bass. When it comes to the noise cancellation modes, let's start off with the regular ANC. This was also done pretty well, although it's not a huge contrast with other ANC buds that we've seen recently. So when you turn them on, they do make a difference, and you will be able to repress a lot of the background noises when you are listening to your own music. So things from engines or fans do get mostly canceled out. So if you're traveling a bit, they will be really nice. You don't have to turn the volume up quite as high, and they're comparable to the effect that you'll get from the AirPod Pros. The ANC might not be to the same extent as some of the more expensive Bose or Sony's flagship buds, which are kind of the tier to beat, but overall they get good enough, especially in this price range, for music active noise cancellation. Now the ENC part for making phone calls, now that's the part that's a bit more exciting and surprisingly works really well, and I found them to be a leg above the majority of other budget buds in this price range. Just to give you guys kind of a quick demo of what that experience kind of is like, there's going to be some music playing in the background, basically a TV, and then this is the effect that you get when listening to a phone call.
Next time we still have the same loud music in the background. Okay, hello, hi. So today we're going to try and show the technology of Elevoc.
Obviously, that was in a rather isolated test environment, but the difference was definitely noticeable, and I was able to kind of reproduce it when I was trying to talk to someone and record my voice in a kind of voice memo earlier when I had a TV in the background, and it was able to really delineate between my voice and the sounds coming from the TV. It almost fixates on your voice after you start talking, which is pretty cool. Of course, if you are in really windy environments, there will still be a bit of interference at times. It's not going to be 100% perfect as you're using it in outdoors and more variable conditions, but it definitely outperforms some of its competitors. Again, if you are trying to get a pair of buds primarily for making phone calls, also for things like video chatting and conferencing, these actually might be a pretty strong option. One thing I will say though is these don't currently have a dedicated low latency gaming mode, so that is one thing I would like to see added, especially with the great call quality, since some folks might want to use these when it comes to chatting while playing back a game. So that's more or less it as far as our hands-on review of the Elevoc Clear. Again, a pretty interesting pair of TWS wireless buds. They may not have the most inspired look, at least on paper, but they are fairly classy, and again, the interesting thing here really is with that environmental noise cancellation, a pretty solid first attempt. So thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. It's been the Elevoc Clear.